Thanks for tuning in to the Palm Beach Podcast, a weekly show highlighting people making a positive impact in our community. With your hosts, sports chiropractor and athletic trainer, Dr. James Spencer, photographer and art director, Mike Jones. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities in Delray Beach, and the Lotus Travel Company for retreats and tours in Palm Beach County. Hello and welcome to the Palm Beach Podcast. My name is Mike Jones, hanging out at Media Zone with some cool dudes. Dr. James Spencer, how you doing today, buddy?
Beautiful, man. Always a pleasure to see you. You know that.
Sunny blue skies out there?
And the aquarium out front, whether it was Blue Heron Bridge or Sailfish Marina, was awesome today.
We're fortunate to live where we live.
And we do have a special guest in the studio today.
Special guest?
Lance Gill, welcome to the studio, man.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I've heard a lot and watched a lot of these episodes, and I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, good friend, mentor, colleague, and somebody who I look up to in the medical and fitness side of golf. So it's cool to have you in town and excited to have you move here.
Well, I'm very, very happy to announce that I think I'm right on the precipice of changing coasts.
I love it. So share with the listeners a little bit about that transition.
As many of you know, I've been out at Titles Performance Institute and running my business on the West Coast, which is a global operation, both Titleist and my business. But I've been looking to get more into a more intimate environment for a long time. We've spoken about it. And one of my good friends and colleagues is Jason Bale, lead instructor at Jupiter Hills Country Club, or the Jupiter Hills Club. And he's really into the holistic aspect of golf and performance. And he approached me probably 2 years ago and said, "Hey, what are your thoughts on the industry of golf?" And I said, "I think a lot of it's broken, and it permeates into fitness training. It permeates into medical. I just think the whole concept is broken." He goes, "I do too. And let me run something by you." And it was a very short conversation. He goes, "I think the game of golf is too how did he put it? Transactional." I said, "Very interesting." He goes, everything's a transaction. No matter where you go, it's a transaction. He goes, "I think it should be transformational." So I'm on this quest, and it's my purpose in the game, my life's work to make the game more transformational. What do you think? And I said, "Well, honestly, I believe that as well, because there's nowhere set in stone. I don't know if there's a research article that says a training session has to be 60 minutes. And that's the dedicated time for a training session, which just so happens to be the same as some physical therapy, some golf lessons. And I say, there's probably a better way to do it, and the end consumer will probably net a better gain of results from it." And those conversations led to Jason opening up the Performance Center at Jupiter Hills, and now I'm kind of in that mix as the performance director, if you will.
Ooh, sounds like a sexy title.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, this is awesome. And, I just selfishly want you here because of our conversations, and I know Mike wants you here to help his golf swing, so.
Understood.
Yeah, I need a lot of help, so, whenever you're ready.
So the word has it that you can shoot 75 or 90. What's the problem? What's the breakdown? Let's talk about it.
Oh, it's definitely the putting.
You guys got a putting studio in your office.
Yeah, but there's a line. There's a dotted line on our Perfect Practice. Thank you, Perfect Practice, very much.
Yes, thank you.
But there's no dotted lines out there.
No, you have to blaze them into your mind.
Now, just let me quickly ask you. Say there's like a putt that you have to make, and there's like a lot of slope. Maybe it's a little up, a little down. Mm-hmm. Do you draw a straight line? Do you try to hit like a certain point?
Oh boy.
I'm not asking you to be a golf coach, but just in your game.
Personally, I see a line, and the line's always wrong, so I probably should go to another. Well, I'm serious. I would have been a pro golfer, and this is coming from Greg Norman's mouth, if I wasn't ranked 975th my senior year in the NCAA in putting. That's what my rank was, and I think that was very generous.
I love it.
I have a Achilles heel, if you will.
We're big fans of the Norman family as well. They got the wakeboarding park about really? 20 minutes that way.
Yep. Greg Jr.
Very nice. Very nice.
Tell the listeners a little bit about your background with him.
Oh, so graduating college as an athletic trainer in Shenandoah University in Virginia. I went to the deep south, as I put it, to go golfing. I'm from the Canadian border, so anything below Maryland was really south for me. So I went and played golf and college soccer, and then I went to grad school at University of Pittsburgh for my master's. And our lab was founded by Greg Norman and Dr. Lephart in the Neuromuscular Research Lab. And Greg really was a founder of it because him and his trainer and a therapist, Pete Dreyevich, were always fixing Greg. They were always patching him up because he was always hurt. And he was like, I just want to know why I was hurt all the time. And so we dedicated a portion of our lab to research on golf, kinematics, and force and pressure, and all that stuff that's really just coming onto the scene right now. So he was always in the lab trying to learn from us and, pick our brains on things. It was kind of cool.
That's awesome. And especially to have him around for your young career.
He was my favorite golfer growing up too. So I was like, this is a home run.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's great too. Like, I really appreciate your guys' approach. I've watched you speak the last two Orlando PGA golf shows on the TPI stage. And it's one of those times where like, I wish I wasn't like filming and working because I really do think you guys have like a fantastic message. It's a lot of listen to your body, golf within your means type stuff and one day at a time. And a lot of people just want to go out there and hit home runs,
No, golf is no different than anything in life. It's a process and it's an evolution. And I always say it's a journey. It's not a destination. And for those who want the quick fix, it's probably not the best methodology for you because you're not always going to get the best answers immediately. You have to actually learn and grow and enjoy the journey. And TPI is not a method. I hear this all the time. It's a method or a philosophy. No, it's just a belief in the body impacting the way you move. And if you choose the right movement to pair with your body, you're going to be very much more successful. And it's hard to argue with the results that we see just working on people's body in conjunction with the fine golf instructors all over the world. It's a really good harmony, a good blend when it's used properly.
And it's cool to see that you collaborate with a lot of those professionals as well. You get to meet them, you get to travel, and that's how your relationship started with Jason.
100%, 100%. Dr. Greg Rose, the founder of the Institute at TPI, him and Dave were always a big believer, give everything away for free. Because we didn't invent movement science, we didn't invent medicine or golf, but the way we formulate our ideas on it may be somewhat different. But why do we hold it into a, circle our wagons, if you will, and get private with it? No, we've always been a collaboration. And I believe in the free transfer of energy and information. And ultimately it comes back to you at some point.
Harmonic law is real.
Wow. We went into physics.
And you guys you used to do your little Dogtown group chats, right? And that was like very much a, hey, what's working for you? What's not working for you type of session where you took a couple professionals and after the show, everyone spilled the beans. And I think that's really admirable where you're somewhat competing with each other a little bit here and there. Mm-hmm. And you guys were very unselfish with your knowledge, which is very cool.
It was the first time I've ever been a part of that, higher level think tank where people would come together and just throw something on the table and you really just chew it up and spit it out if you didn't like it. And it's hard on your ego though, but I've always been taught if you walk through a door or a precipice and you know that your ego can be bruised or the process is going to be hard, it's a much easier pill to swallow. And I've actually learned a lot, and I'm super quiet in those types of groups, but I've learned a lot just by hearing people talk about big things. Then I have to go and look them up on the internet. But it's been good because it's really backfilled a lot of my holes or my gaps in my career.
Well, I'm grateful. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that.
That's a fact. We did get a lot of our, early on conversations through there, and I've learned a lot about, balance and energy flows from you. And I've really been, honestly, to put it simply, been able to transfer this to my clients in my own life, and it's paid very big dividends. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ubuntu, baby.
And it only makes sense, right? Like you're standing on your 2 feet, you're transferring energy. Balance seems to make perfect sense for every single sport, but golf in particular, when you watch the top guys do it, there's a lot of moving in the body, and it's less arms and it's more transfer of energy, right?
Well, if you ask any of the new superstar instructors like Mark Blackburn or Chris Como, those types of geniuses, literally golf pros usually, I'm not going to pigeonhole them, but for the longest time, they work on the hands to the club and how the club face relationship affects the ball. And they have to. But now it's coming in the opposite direction. These guys and ladies are working on the finer movements of the big toe and the heel and the calcaneus. And it's really cool seeing these golf professionals transform how they teach based on fundamentals of physics with ground, with your feet, and so on and so forth. And you're absolutely right. Without balance, none of this occurs. The only two things that touch the ground are your feet. and they are a really integral part of balance. Now, you look at the tour, those guys are producing 7 to 9 Gs of force in a driver swing.
Wow.
That's fighter pilot range. And if you don't have balance, how are you supposed to get from your right side to your left side and not break in half? So I think it's something that, honestly, we haven't even scratched the surface on.
And to do that for years on end, right?
100%. So, hearing programs that are coming out, with you, Doc, it's phenomenal, because I'm just like ready to saturate my brain with all your information on the balance, because personally, part of that transformational program that we're going to be implementing here in Jupiter with the country club, I think can be easily transmitted, kind of like an STD, right to every single golf club in the world. And let's face it, most country clubs are over 50 years old population. And we see the predominance of balance dysfunction in the older population. It's time to fix it.
Agreed. And it really is, like I told you before, it's a humanitarian project for me, and to help not only just aging adults, but golf course professionals.
Yes.
And ourselves, because this is something that you have to lead by example. It's as easy as trying to brush your teeth and stand on one leg.
Which isn't easy.
No, but you know what? That's as easy as it could be to start tomorrow.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And that's where I want people to realize this. You don't need a slackline or anything like that. It's, hey, just start there.
But the cool thing about the points that you talk about when you're teaching balance is it always comes back. You have fun. Your clients have fun, and I see it on your Instagram. They're always enjoying it. And frankly, your Instagram posts, like, you have 80-year-old clients in there that are doing stuff that I can't do. So it just says, wow.
Same.
It's hard. It's hard. But I do. That's the real reason why I'm moving to Palm Beach, is to the humanitarian effort. I want something in my life that allows me to have a legacy in this industry. And, it's time for that phase to start, and people like you are going to make it happen.
That's exciting.
Hey, will you talk a little bit about the grip strength to foot stimulation experiments that we've been playing around with?
Yeah, so when we were running, it was for the young chiropractic students locally here at Kaiser. We ran a little couple-hour workshop for them, and just anecdotally, we were looking at the correlation of grip strength and balance training programs.
Keep going.
And for this, what the research concludes is that when you put somebody on a a balance program, grip strength concurrently goes up.
Really?
And when we know that grip strength is related to morbidity, mortality rates,
correct,
nutritional, psychological issues, I think it's something that, as part of our baseline measurement, that's what we look at.
Well, grip strength's related to rotator cuff health too. So that's a really cool thing. I always look at the human body as, almost a symmetry. So the top half mirrors the bottom half. The wrists and the ankles are very similar, not joints per se, but they have very similar functions. So you say grip strength, I'm saying, what about the grip strength of your feet? I think that's got to have some of those same benefits in there. And frankly, until the last 4 or 5 years, we really haven't been able to measure them too well in the golf industry. But now with force plates and some of the new technology, it's really cool what we're seeing coming out. And that has just spurred a lot of thought in our circles, medical and fitness, on what do we do now that we've measured it? What do we do? And coming back full circle to your balance program, I think that is probably the foundation for all improvements, is understanding what balance is and how to improve it. Because like you say, it affects your grip strength, it affects your psychological, it probably affects your endocrine system.
I'm going to go do some research.
I was just going to say that.
Please do.
Well, we do know that the aspect of play and balance training directly correlates to that.
Correct.
So,
but you did have like the gun, the grip strength gun, and it was like at the start of the workshop and later in the workshop, and we saw like a 10-point or something increase.
It was like a 10-pound increase.
That's pretty significant,
especially in 20 minutes.
That's I'm going to have to start looking into that, because one of the things that we don't measure yet is actual grip strength in the game of golf. Because, well, I know there's some people that have gotten clubs that are censored up, but on the whole, we don't know enough about grip strength at different points, right versus left, different swing styles. Those are going to be very integral discussions to have. And if what you're saying, there's a connection between your balance and grip strength, our kind of our summary right now is the longer the player, the longer the hitter, you're going to have better grip strength. So if balance helps that, let's go for it.
And look at it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the cool part that you brought up too is it's fun.
Yeah.
Like you get on the endo board, even just a Bosu ball, a 2x4, the slack line. It's hard to not smile.
Oh yeah. Have you guys?
And it humbles you.
It's always humbling.
Incredibly humbling.
No matter what part of the destination of balance you're on or the journey, you're going to actually be humbled because you can always go a step higher, which is very hard.
Yeah, try closing your eyes.
No, I don't. He was telling me about the headphones and closing your ears off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can only imagine. I did get to work at NASA for a bit when I was in between college and grad school. And at NASA, they have research programs going on all over the place. And you go to this big board and you can sign up as a subject for any of them. And one of them was a weightless study or zero gravity simulation. I was like, I'm in. I'm all in. And it didn't say much more about it, but I was like, please put me on the KC-130, that plane that goes up and down, parabolic plane. But no, it wasn't. It was this room just like this. You walk in and it was just a chair, a metal chair, and a steel ball on a pole just right in front of it. I was like, what's going on? And the mic comes, do not touch the ball. I was like, okay. And so all the room was white though. It was like this big movie screen on the floor, the sides, and it was like a bubble. And I was like, what is going on here? He goes, all right, you ready to start? I was like, yeah, sure. And so all of a sudden they turned the lights off. The room's dark. I'm in the chair. He goes, don't touch the ball. I was like, okay. So boom, cameras come on. The whole room turns on, and it's a cockpit of the shuttle. When you look forward, it's the front, the side. It's literally an IMAX movie of the shuttle, but it's 360 immersive degrees. And I'm like, this is awesome. How did you do this? He's like, don't touch the ball. I said, I got it. I'm not touching that thing. He goes, all right, when you do touch the ball, I want you to touch it very gently. I was like, okay. And so what the ball was a force plate.
Interesting.
So the moment you touched it, whatever way you touched it was simulating, is going to force the cameras that were projecting the image in the room to react based on the force you pressed it. So he goes, all right, I want you to push it with one finger straight toward the front of the shuttle. So I did. And all of a sudden, the cameras moved in a way that the shuttle was moving backwards. So everything was moving back. I was like, whoa, what's happening? What's happening? And he's like, nothing's happening. And I'm like, no, something. Oh my gosh. And I reached out and I touched the ball and I hit it on the side. And all of a sudden the shuttle started spinning uncontrollably. Within half a second, I face planted on the ground. I was on the ground and I felt like I was glued to the ground, like I was under 150 G's of force sucked to the ground. And I started almost crying. The guy's like, he's like, close your eyes. And so as I closed my eyes, I was like, oh, it's gone. But it was a simulation of what they go through. And he's like, your brain, your eyes are impacting your balance in a massively negative way. And this is how we train our astronauts. And it was phenomenal. I know it's a long story, but
No.
I always been interested in balance since that day.
And they have the most amount of research on simulations.
100%. It's really cool. And I don't even know what they've been doing in the last 20 years.
And like one of the fighter jet pilots, one of the projects they were doing on it was creating motion sickness in the guys because they were so used to the G-force. But when they didn't experience the G-force in the simulation, it actually made them a little nauseous.
Really?
Oh, because they were acclimated.
Yeah.
Oh, so their brain responded differently.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Like they almost were anticipating.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it is fascinating also to see how visuals play a huge impact on not only balance, but the brain and the sensory input.
100%. And I think there's so much to be learned on that and how we apply it to any sport or, just general population. We all could use a little bit of balance benefit.
Yes, sir. So what do you guys plan on doing as far as, talk a little bit about the program and the design and what you and Jason plan on doing?
Our goal, it's not our job. Our goal is to really change the client experience at a country club. And, people have been programmed for decades you come in, you pay for a lesson or you pay for a training session, and invariably the two never talk to each other. There's no intervention. I honestly would love a place where you sign up for your membership, you pay your dues, and it's all just part of the package. This is what you get. This is a lifestyle change to the point where all the outside staff know your physical limitations so they can talk to you about it. They know your golf goals. Mr. Jones, don't forget, when you set the club down, no more than 3 seconds, so no negative thoughts come into play. And don't forget your rehearsal is loading into your right trail foot and your heel so that you can get off it. Load to explode right before it goes to tee off. And then at the turn, the chef at the turn is like, Mr. Jones, don't forget, we want to add a little bit more protein in your back nine so you don't get tired, if you will.
My last name's Jones, by the way, so you're tripping me out over here.
It's you
Yes,
who we're
thank
talking
you. I'm
to.
visualizing this. I'm going to close my eyes.
This is why you shoot 90. Now this is full circle. So, but that interaction, I mean, nobody's doing that. And if we can make this model work, it could work anywhere. It could work at all the places on the planet. And I just think there's a better and more holistic way to look at it. And to even include like services like yourself from the medical world, which covers so many topics, so many diverse variants, if you will. We just have to be prepared to deal with every situation that a member could come and give us. And the better team you have around us, the better experience we can give them.
Well, and I appreciate you guys just opening up the communication, right?
100%.
And when you guys had me up and talking with Jason and having an open floor like that where there is no ego involved and everybody's trying to learn and get better, not only for themselves, but for the member, for the country club, is really cool because that's unique.
Yeah, I've seen that in Palm Beach so much so far. I've spent a lot of time with the Grove 23 guys up in Hope Sound, Ken Wyan, the general manager, and Darren May, the head instructor. And they have a really cool practice program that they've put into play about, the yardages that you are most weak at. Darren has this very ornate system where he can key in on your weak spots, your strong spots, and then practice to put you in those situations so that you can basically lower your misses. And those guys have been so open with their information and sharing it. And initially, I asked Jason, I said, hey, that's a rival country club. That's a rival gang. Why are they doing that? And Jason's like, no. It's all good. It's all good. It's kind of like you and TPI. You just give out information. I was like, yeah, but country clubs do it? He's like, no, but they do it. Yeah. So I was like, that's so cool. And I always tell Ken up there, I was like, man, I'm really grateful you guys openly and share information. And to be honest with you, it's kind of a trademark of success. And I think when you're so successful, you just willingly share that information. You don't expect anything in return. So, humanitarian efforts.
And I can say that when Spence and I were having discussions about Media Zone and like the business model, he was like so adamant, like quality over quantity. And I think that, even if the people that are listening right now don't give a shit about golf, that they can translate this to their life, to their business, where when someone walks into this place, all the bells and whistles are included. Are you going to pay a little bit more? Sure. But are we going to kiss your ass? 100%. And we care about you. We care about your business. We care about your family. We'll send you a Christmas card. And so take lessons that you can, even if you don't play golf, even if you don't film people, take this to your business, to your everyday life. Because I think it's really important and people are willing to pay a little more for a little extra.
We had somebody on last week or whatever it was, and he was talking about cards and how the ink is ethically made and ethically done, and the card itself doesn't contain plastic, and they're literally just going about as environmentally friendly as possible.
Really?
And I said, well, yeah, I would pay more for that card just to support the cause. And it really does come down to quality over quantity and leading by example.
It's a funny story. I was recently put in a situation in California to go to this tequila tasting, and I
That's terrible.
I'm against it. I hate tequila. I absolutely hate the stuff. I'm like, why would I go? And they're like, oh, he hates it. And they're like, just come because nobody's been out of the house for 12 months. I was like, all right, you sold me on that. So I went to this thing and I sat in the back. There was 50 people there, and this gentleman talked about it. Felipe is his name. And he told me about his whole brand and everything. And they're starting up this boutique tequila. And so at the end of the day, I walked up to him. I said, sir, I tried your tequila. This one tasted okay. I'm not really sure what I'm tasting because I'm not really a tequila guy, but it's the fact that it tasted okay is good. And I said, but I'm probably the worst guy to be here because you're starting your company. And he goes, well, why do you say that? I was like, well, because I hate tequila. But I go, I'm interested in how you're running your business. He goes, well, I'm glad you asked. And I said, so tell me about it. Here's the story. he's running his factory. There's an agave shortage in the world, so he's got a very, very big stockpile of agave. But he goes, my most proud thing is the whole factory is diesel. I was like, why are you proud of that? He goes, because I got rid of it. And I'm like, you got rid of the diesel turbines that run the factory? He goes, yeah. I said, what do you use now? He goes, we take the agave extract for the tequila, and then the rest of the plant, whatever it's called, remnant. He goes, we put it back in the incinerator. We burn our agave to fuel the steam to power the plant.
That's incredible.
So cool.
And then we take the ash and we use that as fertilizer for the seedlings. And
But wait, there's more.
there's more. I'm now an investor. So I've gone from hating tequila to now supporting
Now I'm
it.
a fan.
Now I'm a big fan. Now I'm a big fan.
But that's exactly what I would do. I just love how it's all renewable energy and there is no waste.
There isn't very much. I mean, there is no perfect system, but this guy's getting it as close as he can. His company's The Bad Stuff is becoming into Florida, but it just spoke to me as like, this is something I want to do. Like in a country club, there's a lot of waste. And I don't want to waste. I want a self-sustaining system that doesn't burn a lot of external resources and allows us to enjoy our lives more.
Bingo.
Beautiful, bro. And I think that it's cool because they drink a lot of tequila here in Florida, so
I've
it might
heard.
be a financially beneficial situation
I've
for you to
heard.
move here.
I love it. Well, who do you want to thank?
Well, I'd just like to thank all my friends and family along the way. But personally, I've spent the last 20 years out at California with Titleist, the company TPI with Dr. Rose and Dave Phillips, and all my mentors. From the Dogtown group to Doc, you've been a huge asset for me. And everybody, there's not one person to thank, but I like to thank everybody for believing in me, because this is a big move coming across the country. I don't believe my family's coming initially, so it's a big move, but I know it's the right move. And to me, that's a start of something new and big.
That's awesome, man. And I'm proud of you for making the leap.
Amen. I can't wait to see you guys, your success coming in the future.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and cheers.
Yeah, we'll see you in here sometime soon.
Yeah, Mike, we'll work on your game soon.
Yeah, cheers, bro. Appreciate that. Don't touch the ball. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Palm Beach Podcast. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities in Delray Beach, and the Lotus Travel Company for retreats and tours in Palm Beach County.